welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I'm actually going to talk about how to pick the right accommodation for university for you. I don't know if this is of any interest because maybe you have all chosen them by now, but if you find this sometime in between September and December and you're looking at going to university, this might actually be helpful for you. So the first thing I'm going to touch on is price. So everyone gets a different amount of student finance depending on your parents' income or your income if you've been independent for more than 3 years. When looking at accommodation, I would highly recommend checking the prices, what's going to be best for you. If you're bothered about sharing a bathroom, if you're not bothered about sharing a bathroom, it actually is cheaper just to share with other people, but it depends on how many people you're sharing with as well. So you could end up sharing with like 4 girls, 5 girls, depending on how many's in your flat. And also the price will probably be dependent on how much student finance you have as well. So if you're not bothered about sharing, then I would highly recommend going for sharing because it is a lot cheaper. But if you do want an ensuite, they do offer like cheaper ensuite accommodations as well, but like I said, it all depends on your student finance and your financial situation as to whether you want to go into dearer accommodation or cheaper accommodation. If you want an ensuite, it is going to be dearer, especially if you want like an ensuite that's in the newest accommodation and you also want a 3/4 bed, which is what I opted for. Basically, I decided to go with a dearer accommodation because I do get the full amount of student finance and I also didn't want to share. And with being like a more mature student, I kind of wanted like my own like space. So, and I did want a bigger bed because my boyfriend will be coming to stay over. So that is why I chose my accommodation. The next thing I'm going to touch on is how much time it's going to take you to get from your accommodation to your building of where you need to study. So if you want to roll out of bed and go to your lectures, then I would highly recommend getting accommodation next to where you're actually studying. However, if you're not really that bothered and you don't mind the extra travel and stuff, I would highly recommend actually move further away from your campus. If you have 2 campuses, maybe move on to the other campus. That way you'll go study on one campus and then come home to another campus, so it kind of separates it, which is what I opted for. So at York, I'm staying on East Campus, which is like a 10-15 minute bus ride from the other campus. So I decided to have my study life and my home life separate. So yeah, that is an option as well. So if you want that separate, I would highly recommend moving rather to the furthest away accommodation that is offered, or if you have a separate campus, live on the other campus. There is also the offer of being catered and being non-catered. So I chose to be self-catered. However, I do get a college meal once a week within my accommodation price, and also the accommodations where I'm going, they're kind of in the colleges and they're actually not that nice. But if you want catered, it is a bit dearer. And if you're not bothered about actually living like in colleges or like right next to where you're studying, then I would choose that. If you don't want to cook and you just want to be catered, however, with my course it kind of wouldn't have worked out anyway because I wouldn't have actually probably been on my campus to actually get my meals because I'm a nursing student. That's another thing as well. So I would check the length of your course because that actually does have an effect on where you can actually stay. With me being a nursing student, I need a 44-week tenancy, so I could actually only choose between 5 different accommodations. So 2 of them were cheap accommodations, and then there was like a middle kind of priced one, and then the other 2 were actually dearer. I would also look into your course length as well. If it's up to 40 weeks, then you're totally fine because I think the average tenancy is like 40 weeks anyway, but with me being a nursing student, I actually need 44 weeks. Also look into the accommodations online, like do your research, like go online, look into the accommodations. On York, they actually have like a 360 tour, so you can actually have a look around the accommodation. So I could look around my room and then obviously my kitchen area and like living room area, so that was really good. I found that really helpful because I could see what every accommodation looked like as if I was actually in the building. But yeah, go online, do your research, see what's in with the accommodations. They kind of like write out what each accommodation's kind of like, so you can like choose your accommodation on like what's going to be best for you. So if you want to be like in a kind of party accommodation, then you can go into that. If you want to be in more like a music and arts accommodation, like go into that. If you want to be in a more quiet accommodation, they do cater for that as well. I do know at York it actually like differs, like the different colleges actually like differ every year, which is actually the party college, but they do normally have a rundown of what the colleges or accommodations are actually like. So just go online, do your research, have a look at how much the prices are, have a look at how long the tenancies are for, and just like choose from there. With sorry about that. My door just kind of opened by itself and that was really creepy. I think it is because I've got my window open though, so it's fine. So at York it is actually like college based, kind of like Oxford and stuff like that, or Cambridge. I can't really remember, but some universities are actually college based. So with my university, I went online to apply for my accommodation. I picked my top 7. I could put 4 en suites and 3 shared. So that is the way I did it. So I'm hoping I'm going to get one of my top 2 choices. I'm hoping to get my first choice because that's the one I've actually bought everything for and catered for. So if I get the second option, I am going to be a bit disappointed, but it won't be the end of the world. But just go online, do your research. If you can go to an open day, have a look around as many accommodations as you can within the time frame of the day. Maybe go to 1 or 2 open days so you can kind of go and meet the tutors and have a look at your course, and then on another day go and have a look at the accommodations. I think I went down to York like twice and 3 times with my interview, kind of have a look around, like get a feel of the city, get a feel of the campus and everything like that, have a look at the accommodations. And lastly, just pick the accommodation that's right for you. So I chose my accommodation because it was on a separate campus. It was the most newest accommodation. It had a 3/4 bed and also an ensuite. And both campuses are lovely, but I wanted to have my study and my home life separate, so I didn't feel like it was all in one and I felt like suffocated. So yeah, that is all my tips for choosing your accommodation. I hope you did like this video. If you did, please give it a huge thumbs up, subscribe to my channel down below and press the bell notification to be notified every time I upload a video. And you can also follow me on my social medias, which will be linked down below, and I will see you on my next video. Bye guys.